It's live now. Let's get it. Hi. Dang, I'm right in front of this thing. Window. This is annoying me. If I can.
Block the camera.
Like this. Well, that looks somewhat better, I guess. Barking.
Hey, say hi to our new friend.
Oh. I'll say hi later, okay?
You done watch the movie?
No.
Okay, watch out. They got a broadcast.
Oh, shoot. That's better. Oh, that's perfect. Sending to myself. Man, I can't wait to go to get a haircut. Oh my gosh. Woo.
Man, I mean, I know a lot of them starting to open back up, but it's like, do you want to take that risk? Still, in the hood, they don't really care about none of that.
True.
You know, it's a hood barbershop. I don't care.
Whew. 'Cause, man, it's been a month and no, it's about to go.
Almost 2.
So, yeah, 2
Right,
months.
that too. Yeah, right.
Oh no, it's been 2 months.
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Oh yeah. Start sitting over here, bro. Like 5 minutes, do a 30-minute show, call it a day. 40-minute show.
Now stop talking.
Not yet.
Hello to everybody out there. We are live. We didn't start yet, Curtis. I'm just talking. I'm just talking. Just waiting to see if people pop on. Record this too as well. Record in the cloud. I gotta start recording it more often. See if we got any viewers. Not yet. It's just me viewing myself. It's cool though.
Ow.
Well, we can just get started. If people pop in, they pop in. Well, hello, everybody. We are here back again. BGCM Scholarship Broadcast, Scholarship Show. We appreciate you guys for viewing in if you are viewing. As you can see, I'm not Jermaine Jones, but I am AJ Holmes. AJ Holmes, and we have my fellow friend as well. Can you introduce yourself? It's your first time on the live, so.
Yeah, I'm Curtis Johnson. I'm a team director at Mount View. So most of the time I just tell the kids to tune in, but I told them to try to get more viewers. I'll jump on so I can see their face, they can see my face. Yeah, so first time for everything.
Definitely. We hope you guys, if you are viewing in, if you want to join in the Zoom, just let us know. let us know, and I'll send in. Actually, I can just, you know what? I'll just type in the password on the YouTube chat. And then if you want to be involved in that, especially if you do have the link, you know, tap into it. Actually, I forgot what the live number is. Top of my head. The live number is live number is not live, the Zoom meeting. Password is 573601. All right, so yeah, if you got that link and you're tuning in and you want to join into the Zoom meeting, you have the link. Go ahead and type in that password. All right, so today, we are going to be focusing on my notes. Pretty much talking about two different things. One for sure, where do you begin with I guess finding a career? Maybe you might have an interest of a career or something you just have an interest in. Maybe it'd be some sports things, some technology, whatever it is. You know, what's some steps that you can do to pretty much find out more information about that career. See if it maybe is an interest to you and anything like that. So, well, Curtis, since it's just you and myself, we're just going to be talking amongst each other, which is totally fine. Unless we end up having questions on the chat and all that stuff, and then we'll go from there. But as of right now,
We got one.
all we got to it. These they've been coming back for it's been about what 3 or 4 weeks. They've been coming back every single show, which is great. So Jabez and Michael, this is
Going on,
Mr.
y'all?
Curtis up there.
I'm Mr. Curtis.
What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing?
I'm Mr. Curtis. Hope y'all doing well. We appreciate you two for definitely being involved. So like I was just mentioning before you guys just hopped on, we're going to be talking about for the first topic for sure. Where do you begin? Just pretty much to search for your career, not your career, but just a career in general. So I'm just going to ask this first question. I guess Mr. Curtis, this will be towards you. I mean, obviously you're in a career, and I'll answer myself as well. What are some strategies you could use to look for a job?
Um, I mean, as far as looking for a job, like I guess I'll just kind of start by like if you want to get into something that you're passionate about and take it as a career. I would say the first thing you do is just kind of think about something you're passionate about, something you like. Um, I know with me, like I didn't really necessarily plan out working with kids, but being from the same community where I work, it kind of worked hand in hand. Um, so that's kind of where I go with that. But typically I would say like if you want to go into a career that you want to take that into a career aspect, let it be passionate about it because if you're passionate about it, it never feel like work. You know what I mean? You'll be doing something you enjoy, but it won't feel like work. You won't get burnt out. You always find new ways to like be creative and find a different approach. So I would say that's the first thing.
Definitely finding what you're passionate about, all that type of thing. You said it right to the T. I mean, finding what you're passionate about. Because even for myself, I guess one strategy that I did to find, I guess, the career that I'm in now, I would have to say it all started when I was it in middle school? No, high school. It was in high school where, um, dang, off the top of my head, I cannot remember his name. Well, I graduated from South, so he came to my school and and I was involved in one of his programs that he came like every week or whatever. And he was in a sense of like my mentor. And so it was just like, man, I want to do something that he's doing where he goes back into maybe the community, maybe some schools, stuff like that, whatever, and assist kids with finding their future, finding the certain careers that they want to do, all that type of stuff. So I was like, man, I want to do that when I grow up. And it's in a sense, it's like a mentor, but it was just like, okay, well, I know as a mentor, you can it's not always about making money, but that's one of the perks about it of like being a part of a job or career, whatever it is. So I was just like, well, what's the path for me to take to be involved in that? And what I did was I talked with him. I had some conversations with him, especially every week that he came by. Sat down with him, different things like that, and just try to stay in contact with him. But he's out still doing the same thing, being a keynote speaker, et cetera, all those types of things. But just actually having that communication with him, building that trust and that relationship with him, just so I can pick his brain, pick his head, and just to see like, okay, these are the routes to take to eventually be at the career that I want to be at. Jabez and Michael, I don't know what exactly that you guys have an interest in. I know for sure Jabez is a wrestler, but I know he wanted to be I guess what are some ways that you guys think is the best way to find a job that you might have an interest in that you can potentially have as being a career or anything like that?
Research it.
I
Okay,
say find something that's not a job and more of like something that you feel like doing. So it's not a job and you feel like going to work every day.
definitely.
So like even if it's not like high pay, like you enjoy doing it. So
Mm-hmm, definitely. Michael, anything to add?
Mm. Try and after you research it, try and like contact somebody that's already in that like area of work to try and see like how it is and what you should be prepared for and like what you should do like if you got to get any extra stuff, something like that. So, like you're already prepared to when you get the job and you have the best chance of getting the job because like you already know what it requires.
Nice. So you guys pretty much I love your answers. And that's exactly what we need to obviously tell definitely our community. You know, reach out to as many people as you can, especially if you have that person that you can call upon and you know, talk with them about maybe a career that you might have an interest in. Um, I guess my next question would be what's your guys' definition of networking? If you even know what if you know what networking is, maybe we might have to give you a definition of it. But what's your guys' definition of networking?
like social
Anyone can
networking,
answer. Go ahead. Go ahead.
like social networking.
Yeah. So like, say if it's regarding a career or whatever, like what's networking, or maybe not even a career. It can be a college. It could be just whatever it is, a job, whatever it is. You know, what's your definition of networking?
Like putting yourself out there basically.
Hmm.
Isn't that like when you talk with other people about
Yes,
like
sir.
that? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. And that's basically what it is. Like you said, putting yourself out there, talking with multiple people, you know, just making it known and making it seem like, hey, I'm interested, you know, this is who I am, you know, and putting you in a position where it can potentially build you. That's exactly, and that's pretty much the importance. That's one of the importance of looking for a job is networking. Talking to, you know, maybe if you talk with myself, I can find you somebody else to put you in that position to be where you need to be. And that's networking. You know, I for myself, I tried to do it young. Had times when I didn't do it, but then when I started to do it, maybe definitely, who knows how long ago when I really started networking. But when I started building up my networking, I guess group or database, however you want to say it, it just pretty much brought a lot of benefits out of it. Um, and I would just encourage everybody to network as much as you can, especially now too. If it's an email, a text, whatever. Obviously, we can't do face to face with a lot of people, and maybe it's a Zoom call. You know, network as much as you can, just so when we do have a time where we can eventually be in front of that person or whatever, you know, you'll already be ahead of the game. You'll be ahead of the other person that's trying to be where you're at too. Um, Curtis, you got anything regarding networking?
I mean, you kind of like touched on it. All it doesn't necessarily have to be like on a computer, like just talking to people. Um, and it really doesn't even have to be necessarily like as you see, I got a guest right there. It really doesn't even have to be like talking to people initially. Like you can network just by like doing research, like young man was saying before.
Okay.
Just kind of like getting more acclimated to what you might want to go into, and then talking to people about it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, or some people, might think they have a career in mind that they want to do, and then they find out what goes into it, and it'll kind of like maybe that's not what they want to do. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say the biggest thing is just like researching and talking to people. And if it's something that you really want to do, then kind of branching out and like reaching out to people on how you can get into that field more.
Definitely, definitely. Nice. And then so going back to what you mentioned, Jabez, what are some questions you could ask a person to find out more about their job?
But
Talking to like both of us or just him?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, I mean, both of you guys, but I'm just
Oh,
saying
my
of what he
bad.
mentioned about, you know, talking with somebody that maybe is already in that position. What are some questions you guys think that you should ask that person if you were in that situation?
first how much it takes to get there, and like what you should expect, uh, like what it requires, and then like how the people are, and like how the boss is, how much you get paid, stuff like that.
Okay, okay. I like those.
I'd ask if there's like coverage, like insurance, you know? 'Cause, yeah,
Great question.
so I do tree removal, and I don't want to like get hurt and have to pay for it myself.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, especially in that in that sorry, that was my computer making that noise telling me to update. Yeah, and especially in that type of career or job, you want to make sure you have insurance, all those types of things. That's a great question. A great question. Um, I would say for sure one question that I always ask, even when I first started the job or whatever, was I guess in a sense, what are some benefits that you can receive out of this position or in this career? Or can I move up later on? What can I benefit from it, from being involved in this job or career? Just so you can know, like, hey, if this is going to be worth my time or not, maybe if it's going to continue to have me move forward, all those types of things. Like, what are some benefits? Because you don't want to be stuck in a position where, like, as you guys mentioned before, um, you think you might have an interest in, and then maybe you end up not having an interest or whatever it is, or and all that type of stuff. You want to find out those benefits as well of what can happen present at the present time, what can happen at the future, all that type of stuff. What are some benefits? And that could be a long list of things, but at the end of the day, what's the benefit of them being in that position, and how can you benefit from it? So that's a question I always ask. Curtis, you have anything regarding some questions that you might ask a person that is in a position?
Um, I mean, yeah, benefits is definitely one. I think probably the most important thing though is probably like growth. Like as
Yep.
far as like if you want to move up, because like you gotta think too, like with some careers that people take, like they might want to go into their business for themselves, and maybe like benefits and things aren't something that's like readily available right away. But I would say probably like benefits stuff like that is important, but I would say like growth expansion too is probably an important thing also.
Definitely. I definitely agree with growth. And I was, yeah, that's kind of basically what I was trying to say with benefits,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
growth is a better terminology. I like that better.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
so growth is definitely something that, um, yeah, you should ask about, because, yeah, you want to continue to move forward, whatever you're in, even if it's in that organization or not in the organization, even if it's in that career or not, you want to find out what that growth is and where you can see yourself in the next 3, 5, a year, whatever it is, see yourself in those different positions.
That ties back into networking too, because with networking can come like a lot of growth too. So that kind of goes hand in hand.
Definitely. I agree. I agree. All right, so we're gonna go and jump into how Curtis was saying regarding researching, obviously with the networking part of it. This is a question um, that I guess we can answer for sure. What are some ways to use the internet to learn about possible jobs? Anyone can start. I mean, I have one that I use in both of my positions that I was in. Yeah.
hmm You can look up if you need to, if it requires something like a degree to, to get the job.
True. Jabez, you got anything?
Um, I forgot the name of the website, but like you can go in there and it shows like all the stuff that the job has, like pay, um, like average amount of time that a person spends working there, hours and all that. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Well, for sure, one way or some ways, the internet for sure. I mean, we have all these social media things that we use: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, LinkedIn, all that type of stuff. And those are great databases to actually, find a potential job or whatever. Indeed, that's where I actually end up getting my first full-time job was through Indeed, just randomly typing something in and just searching for a job after I graduated from college, and I got a job, and I was just like, man, thank you Indeed. Shout out Indeed. I don't know if you're watching this, which you're probably not, but if you do, thank you. I just want to say that. You know? So yeah, like Indeed, you know, those databases, those can actually help you out. And one important thing can definitely help you out too. BGCM Civicor. Your Civicor can help you out. I'm letting you know this now. We have a tab on in your Civicor has tips for success, has all these different jobs, all these different things that potentially help you out. All you got to do is click that tab, you know, go into your Civicor, click that tab, boom. Tips for success can help you out. And then one other thing can help you out, the BGCM staff, stuff like that. Myself, Mr. Jermaine, Mr. Curtis, whomever, we can assist you with finding different maybe jobs, careers, or whatever you have an interest in, you know, being involved in. And as long as you let us know, we can go out our way to make sure that you can potentially be in a position to pretty much have a, you know, pretty much have a job or be in that position to eventually get that job or career or whatever you might have an interest in. So all those types of things can definitely help you. And Curtis, you can just continue with, you know, maybe some things, you know, maybe the internet in the sense of a possible job that could potentially help you out.
Yeah, I mean, internet now is like you can do anything on the internet, like
Mm-hmm.
overall for good or for bad. But you know, when we're talking about like finding a job thing, it definitely be used for good. Like you can research and find so many outlets or so many different um, places where you can apply. 'Cause, I mean, the internet can take you in a wormhole, and that can be a good thing. You know what I mean? Like it can take you. You can think of one career, and then you can see it linked to a different career that's like not necessarily the same, but it's not necessarily different either. You can be like, oh, maybe that's more curtailed to, you know, how I am as a person and how my work habits are. So like, the internet can help out with anything. You know what I mean? Like, so I definitely agree with what you were saying earlier, as far as like, you know, the Indeeds and whatever other platforms like that. I can't even think of. It's so many. I can't even think of one. Like Indeed is like the first one I can think of, but it's a lot of them though.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot, and it's probably some new ones that we don't even know about. It's just so many things on the internet. Is like you said, good and bad. It's good and bad about the internet, and some job descriptions and some jobs can actually be fake. So you got to watch out for those. You know, you got to watch out for those types of things. You know, ask a friend about it, a friend meeting. Maybe it's a staff member, whomever it is, you know, a mentor, whomever it is, you know, send them that link, and see if like, hey, is this job actually real? Is it something you feel like can be or have an interest in? Just, you know, those different types of things.
Always remember too, like whatever you choose to do, like if it's something that you really enjoy, it's going to be pros and cons with everything.
True.
It's just a matter of just like weighing the good and bad. Like if the good outweighs the bad, then that's what it is. But you know, if you feel passionate about it, that's what you gonna ultimately want to do. So you just gotta weigh the pros and cons. But you know, it might be some research you might run into. It might be people that you know that run into that may try to like take you off of that path. But you gonna know what you really want to do. So that's what matters the most.
Definitely. I definitely agree for sure. All right, guys. So we went, like I just said, we just talked about, you know, some steps into finding a career, different things like that. So before we get into our next little topic or segment, I'm going to share my screen real quick. And everybody that is going to be eventually watching this, ooh, can I do it? Yeah, I can share it. Boom. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Just has just the chat on there, which is totally fine. All right. So if you do not know what this is, not exactly this in general. My computer's kind of slow, so I'm gonna let you know this now. Yeah. Um. Boom. All right. So what I'm gonna show on the screen, like I was just mentioning, is if you do not know about this, especially if you're in the 9th through 12th grade, maybe even the 6th through 8th, maybe even, you know, grades lower than that as well. We have a virtual programming for the Boys and Girls Club of the Midlands, The Voice. And I just wanted to do a quick little run through of how you can be involved in this. You know, it's just our virtual program. We would love for you to be involved. It's Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays from 2 to 4. It's an hour session for each different type of programming. So what you'll do is, like I just mentioned, or like I just said, or like I just showed in the screen, you'll go to, if you want to go to Google, go to type in bgcomaha.org, or you can just type in www.bgcomaha.org. And after you click that, you go to join voice. I'm going to move myself because this is in the way. Oh my gosh. Boom. So as you can see, it has the voice right here. All the information that you might need. Boom. Like it's just said, like it says right here. One, you visit the site, then you complete. If you please have your parent and guardian complete the parent or the consent form, and then obviously after that, after about 2 minutes, you join Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Consent forms right here, and then you whatever your grade is that you're in or going to be in for sure. Click on here, and it'll take you to our Zoom meeting. That'll happen Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All right. So anybody that wants to be involved in that has a weekly schedule as well. So it's going on for the next. It's going to happen tomorrow as well, and then it's going to continue to happen for the next 2 weeks after that as well. Then probably continue on and on and on. I just wanted to go through a run through of that of the voice, and would love for you guys to be involved in that, especially the 9th through 12th grade, because that's our main focus of what the scholarship show is toward. But I mean, if you're younger than that and you're watching this, you can definitely be involved in the voice, especially if you are a member of the BGCM, one of the BGCM clubs. So I'm gonna stop sharing. Yes, sir. And yep, I just wanted to get a rundown of that uh, just quickly for anyone that is watching. All right, so next to our next segment, we are going to talk about time management. Just the time management. Maybe it's time managing your life. You're in school, whatever it is.
All right.
Oh, I thought Jabez, you had a question?
Mm-mm.
Oh, y'all pretty chitty chatting. No, I'm just kidding. So we'll ask the two youngsters, how can you balance your time in school?
How can we manage our time?
Yeah, same thing. So,
No, I didn't hear what you said because I was stretching. But I don't know. Our teachers do it for us.
oh,
Ooh.
ho, ho, ho. Our teachers do it for us.
I've never heard of that ever. I've never
I
heard
never. Can
that.
you explain how? That's my first time ever hearing that.
They just like that. For me, they'll take like we just got our classes and like honestly, the only thing we gotta do is just like make sure we get to our classes on time. That's really all we gotta do.
But what about like when you get home, you got to do work on your own? Like that's your own time management, though.
Uh, I don't know. I don't really do work at home because I do all mine at school. Because my
Okay.
teachers, they normally give me work to like they give me enough time so I could do my work in class. So I normally just do it when they give me that time because it's not really a lot to do.
Okay. So my question to you is, do you feel that do you feel that when you go to college, if you go to college, if that's something that you want to do, or just education in general, continue your education, do you feel that your teachers or professor is going to be managing or balancing your time for you when you go to
No.
post-secondary education?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So if that's not going to happen, then why not start now and do it yourself now?
I mean, I do. I do my work in class because I don't really have to like. It's just I don't know. It's just like a schedule for me. It's always been that way for me. Like I've always just done my work in class. But then like if I do have to take my stuff home, then I'll come home and I'll do it because I can't really do anything till I get my work done.
Okay. Okay. You got a mindset of already getting pretty much getting your homework done or whatever work needs to be done or studying or whatever it is before you can actually do other things. Okay. Okay. Jabez, any input?
My schedule is after school, I go to practice. Then after practice, I do work till I get picked up. And then when I get home, I finish my work. And then I do whatever else I feel like doing. So
Okay. Okay. Curtis, any other inputs regarding balancing your time in school?
I might not be the best because like I'm a when I was in school, like I don't know what it is. Like some people are just like this. Like I do my best work when it's like last minute, so I can't really like really speak to it because I'll probably give people the wrong advice. Um, what I will say though is like if college is something that you want to go to, always consider like um, maybe having classes like earlier in the day so that you can get all out of the way. Sometimes you don't really have a choice. Like sometimes, like depending on the subject, it got to be a night class.
Hmm.
But having all your classes at one part of the day, and then also what was it? I said I had another point. I said that, and I can't remember what the other point I had, but me, I was in sports too though, so I really couldn't like. I kind of just had to like do it when I could. So it just kind of depends. Also, yeah, this is my other point too. I would say like depending on like how well you learn, it depends on like whether whether a bigger school is better for you or a smaller school. Because I mean, some people learn better in a smaller class setting. Some people can sit in a lecture hall with 300, 400 people, and as long as they get the gist of what's going on, then they can be able to get it done. So that's one thing to consider too, and that helps with your time management. But I mean, based on what my degree was, like I didn't have papers really because I was a graphic design major, so I mainly had like projects I had to do. So it kind of just depends on like what your major is too and what you're going into. So you gotta always consider all those things.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, and I totally agree. Like Michael mentioned, I was kind of that person. I didn't really do my. Did I do my work in class? I mean, I did do my work in class, but if I didn't, I just did it at home, or pretty much I did it at home. And before I could do anything else, that's when I pretty much, I did my work first, and then after that, I did whatever else I wanted to. So I mean, just having that mindset of like balancing everything out. It's good to balance out your social life, school, if you got work, if you got sports, whatever it is, balancing out those things as much as you can. Putting into like maybe you do certain things each day, maybe you switch it up a little bit here and there, but just having that balance and knowing like, okay, I'm gonna give this amount of time for this amount of time for that, this, and this is gonna benefit you in the long run because that's why I asked you, Michael, about that, about just having that way to balance those things out. Because in college, it's going to be totally different. Not that much. Yeah, it's going to be different depending on where you go to, but depending on where you go, of
Yeah,
how. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say because college is all on you. Ain't no teacher gonna remind you
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
your work. Like
All
they
on-
don't care. Like they gonna get paid whether you do your work or not. Like you know what I'm saying. So,
Mhm.
teachers in high school like it's kind of your performance is kind of based on like what they're whether like you can drop off the face of the earth and they really don't care honestly. And I don't know if that's good or a bad thing, but um, for them to have that mindset, but like it's all on you to get it done. Like point blank period. So it's a little bit different. You know what I mean? You still got to manage your time, but and then also like you may not have classes all day. Like you might have classes from 8 to noon, and you got the whole rest of the day to yourself. So it's just up to you if you want to finish your work or not. So like it's a little bit, it's kind of the same, but it's a lot different too.
Yep. And I would say it's a lot more freedom. I should basically say it's a lot more freedom. It's a lot more time on your hands. It can be depending on how your schedule is. Those different things and how you adapt to it. Because it's going to be, especially at freshman year, maybe even if you go in there in the summer, whatever it is. Like definitely at freshman year, it's going to be a complete change. Because in a sense, you're not going to be micromanaged, especially if you have your mom or dad that's like, hey, do this, do that, all that type of stuff. You're going to be on your own. And, it's a pros and cons about it. It's a pros and cons. So, I mean, at the time when you're a senior, you probably feel like you're ready, whatever, but maybe you might not be. It all depends on how you are as a person. So, I mean, if you start early, it's best to start early with certain things that you do, how you move with certain things about maybe balancing your time, doing certain things by yourself, or not being asked to do certain stuff. You do it by yourself, whatever it is. Starting early is better than starting late. But if you start late, that's totally okay too, because it can still result to the same thing at the end of the day. So it could or could not. It just all depends. But you know, my advice for sure is just to time management, whatever it is, balancing out your social life, sports, whatever it is, school, everything like that. Make sure it's a balance. Make sure it's a doesn't have to be a set in stone schedule that you do, but you know, it'll be some times where it's going to be tough, but you'll push through it, whatever it is. But um, So another question that I have is, what are some things that you need to complete now, and what are some things that you can wait on? So that can be that can be around school. It could be around social life. It could be whatever you guys feel. Just throw out some examples that you might have that you feel should be completed now, and other things that need probably can be completed later. So, for example, one, we're all going to say, if we're in school, we're going to complete our homework now. So that's one. That's an example. And then something that you can complete later on could be, dang, I don't know, what could you complete later on? That's kind of tough. I mean, it's not tough.
Grass,
Say it.
cutting the grass.
Yeah. That's a good example. That's a good example. So yeah, you can complete cutting the grass. You know, obviously when the grass is high, and the tree and all that type of stuff, you can complete that
That's
later
a
on.
that's another example of time management though. Like, if you know something that you can put it off and then not hinder what you got going on later, then you can say, all right, I'll do that later if I know I got to do this right now, or you can do something now, get it out the way, so that it won't be something that might linger later. So that's a smart thing of time management. So that's smart.
Definitely, definitely. And yeah, and we had, and I think it was like either episode 2 or something, where we're talking about wants and needs. So it's kind of focusing around that as well, around this as well. You know, like what's some things that you complete now, what's some things that you complete later on. Basically, like what's a want and what's a need. It's basically kind of the same type of stuff where what are some things that you might want to complete now or need to complete now? What are some things that you might not need to complete now? It all can vary. It all depends on who you are and how your mindset is with certain stuff. So like maybe for example, in school you might not need a computer as of right now or a laptop or whatever, but then you might still want it too. So that doesn't have to be done as of right now, but you can do it later on depending on what that is. So it's a lot of stuff that you have to just think about before you take certain actions and all those types of things. But um just getting on to kind of the end of this for sure, regarding time management. um I guess to ask you all, what are some advice that you could say to the people that's watching, some advice regarding time management or maybe balancing things that are happening in your life and all those types of stuff? If you want, I can start. Oh, go ahead, Michael.
Man, for like homework, I'd say like do your homework like when you got the resources, like when your teachers is around, and like you still got the opportunity to ask them about how to do it, so you don't get stuck at home and like got nothing to do, so like you don't gotta go on YouTube and search it up, because like that could be confusing. Or you could just ask your teacher at school.
Hmm. Nice. Jabez, any advice?
I'll say do like if it's homework, do like the bigger point assignments first, the ones that are gonna take you longer. Then do like the little ones or like 5 points.
Okay.
I would say another thing too, like if you got a bigger assignment, you can always do it in waves, like do a little bit at a time. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like maybe you have a bigger assignment, you can do
Yeah.
some of a small one, a little bit of a big one, and just kind of like go on from there. That way you don't have too much on your plate at one time. That's always a way too.
I like that. I like that. One advice that I would say regarding time management, maybe if it's doing homework, school, life, whatever. We all have one of these, right? Yes, sir. We all got one of these. If we don't, that's okay too. You have a most likely have a laptop computer. Usually, well, I don't always do it, but if I do it, we got our calendar. Boom. Type in whatever you need to do. Maybe it's a homework assignment. Maybe it's you about to hang out with a friend, whatever it is, whatever it could be, it could help you pretty much in a sense, um, I guess balance your time out, balance your day out, balance your days out, balance your week, balance your month, whatever it is. We always have this in our hand, most likely anyway. Why not put it to use? We usually do that anyway with social media. We can obviously definitely do this for balancing our lives out. I didn't do that when I was in high school as much, but I mean, just learning over time, it's like, man, I might as well use my phone to set my alarm for something or whatever it is. Maybe it's a bill due or whatever it might be. Maybe it's something I do need to do for work or school or whatever. I could type it in real quick. I got it set for my alarm, for my alert. Boom, I'm ready to go. It'll alert me, and I know exactly what to do at that time, or maybe even before then, and then I wouldn't have to worry about it later on.
Terrible. I'm terrible with using the calendar. Like I'm super spotty. Like sometimes I'll use it, sometimes I won't. Like most of the time I just go off memory. If I remember, I got it. But I'm pretty good at remembering stuff, so it just kind of depends. But everybody got their preferences, so I feel you. Probably need to use my calendar more anyway.
Yeah, everybody. So everybody different.
Terrible.
Everybody different. So yeah, I mean, I do certain things out of memory too. I mean, just all depends. But
Yeah.
if I have to put it in my calendar, if I know I'm gonna forget, or maybe I put it in my notes or something. But
Yeah.
even that's like I gotta remember that too to go
Yeah,
look.
I probably use my notes more than I use my calendar because I'm not good at using my calendar.
Yeah, definitely. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Oh, I say yeah. I probably should be. I probably should be using my calendar more, but I'm not. I'm terrible at it.
Yeah, because I mean, what I do is I just put the alarm or that alert on. I put that alert on. And I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
let me know. So it just all depends. It just all depends. Well, any questions from Michael or Jabez or anything like that we can answer real quick? You got two guys that graduated, from high school and college, and we would love to answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah, college. Like, you just tell me about it, like how it's gonna be.
Dang, that's a good question. Okay, well, it depends. We all. I mean, dang, it's kind of. Just like,
I don't know. It's like I graduated college a while ago. I mean a while to y'all, but and I went to college in a whole different city, whole different state though. So that kind of like uh, changed a little bit of like how I went. Like it didn't go bad, but like that's another thing too of like time management. Like I probably had like a different set of distractions, so to speak, when I went to college because I was in a whole different city and state. So and I didn't have like any family like close by like that. So like I was like for real on my own. So like as much as as much fun as I wanted to have or did have, like I still had sports. I still had school work to do. So like that's a lot. That's a lot to consider. You know what I mean? It probably would have been different if I went to school like here, because like all of my family is here. So if I would have went to school here, it probably would have been a little bit different. But then again, I would have been around a lot of my friends more. So like that, you got to factor in like that aspect of distractions too. So like I said, it's pros and cons with all that stuff. Like you just got to consider like what's best for you. You know what I mean? So
yeah, definitely. And I would just have to say for college, it was fun. I must say it was fun. Met a lot of people, made a lot of friends. Still have friends that I met through college, through today. Things like that, like turning to brothers and all that. And the homework was fun because I was always a person that wanted to get their work done, all that type of stuff, whatever. And it well in college, and I mean, I played sports, played basketball, did stuff like that. Um, I went to two colleges, so I transferred from a different school. I was actually an hour and a half away. And I transferred back here to Omaha and graduated here, not UNO, but a school that was here in Omaha. And so I was close, and as Curtis mentioned, he was far away. So we have obviously two different types of, I guess, in a sense, styles or how experiences of how college went. But overall, it was fun. Learned a lot. Used a lot of things that I learned from college and that I use today. And I I made a connection. So I went to a smaller school where I still have the connection, and still I gained a relationship with the professors, or some professors, that I could always reach back out to, talk with about certain stuff if I wanted to, and all those types of things. So and that's just networking right there, networking, building those relationships, communicating with people, getting out your comfort zone to just say, hey, sitting in the front, stuff like that, sitting in the front, sitting in the middle of the classroom, whatever it is. Especially if you're African American, just showing that you're different than how people think or whatever you want to say. And just overall, it was fun. Living on campus, it was fun too. Things like that. You have pros and cons. We had to talk about how, the roommate roulette, about, how a roommate could be, or maybe, living by yourself is a little bit different. And once I did that, it's been amazing. So, just without a roommate, stuff like that, just little things. And just overall, it was a great experience, I must say. It was fun.
I agree because I did all the above. I lived on campus, lived off campus. I had roommates. I didn't have roommates. Um, I didn't transfer, but like I went to a smaller school too. But I went to school in like kind of a bigger city, so like that was like kind of like the balancing act. Like you have the the perk of being able to talk to professors if you're like struggling with something, or if you want to come in and do extra or get work done outside of like what else you got going on. Um, but on the flip side of that, like I was in a bigger city, so um, I was also in a bigger city with a bigger school in the city, so like that factored into. Um, so yeah, I mean that again that goes to managing your time, managing quote unquote distractions, and going from there. So
Definitely. And it's going to be a lot of distractions, or it can be.
it can
Maybe
be,
not, but
yeah,
it can be a lot of distraction. It could be everything in above. All right?
yeah.
We're not going to go through that list because we know stuff that's probably added that we couldn't even think about. So, it's just those distractions. And if they're not positive, I wouldn't even advise being involved in it, because it can bite you it could bite you in the butt later on. So, thank you, Michael, for that question. Jabez, you or both of you guys, you got any more questions that we can answer?
I don't.
What about the
You
homework?
about to be a senior next year. You talk about I don't. Okay, that's cool. That's
What about the homework? Like, was it hard? Did you have a lot of it?
cool. I mean, it was cool. It wasn't bad. I don't. It could all depend on your major too.
Well, yeah, I'll say the difference between like high school work and college work is that when you get to college and once you pick a what major you want to do, you're doing work related to what you want to go into. So like it's not like high school, like you're not doing stuff like that you don't want to do. Like your first year or two, you got stuff that you gotta take, like your prerequisites or whatever. But once you get into like maybe like the latter part of year two and the year three or year four, like you're doing stuff that really pretty much only pertains to what your major is. So like once you get to that point, it doesn't necessarily feel like you got like a lot of work because it's all related to like one type of subject.
Hmm.
So like for me personally, like I was a graphic design major, so like I didn't really have like book work. Like I didn't have like 5, 10, 15 page papers. Like I didn't have to do that, but I had to do like projects that were like so it had so much like extra stuff that you had to do that took like weeks to do. So like then again like I knew that it went into that, so it didn't really feel like a lot. Like at the time when you got the assignment, it was a lot, but like once you are done with it, it's like it wasn't that much because like that's what I'm used to. That's what I want to do anyway. So I say that's like the big difference. Probably like your first year or two, you'll feel like you got a lot of work, but again, it just kind of depends on like what class you take because like the classes that you take outside of like prerequisites are like classes that you choose.
Hmm.
So it just all depends on like credit hours too. Like I was a graphic design major, but I could have minored in history and I didn't even realize it until I was like about to graduate. So like some of the stuff that I had like longer papers, but and then on top of that, like depending on the school, like you have your senior thesis, and sometimes like my senior thesis was like 40 pages or something crazy like that. So you got to factor that in too. So
Definitely. Yeah, you'll do a lot of writing, most likely. I mean, depending on what, like Curtis mentioned, it depends on what major you have. You do a lot of writing, and it'll be a lot of hands-on too. Some depending on what major you have too, it could be a lot of hands-on as well. Which is it could be pros and cons about both of those things. Um, but overall, it'll be a great experience, like I just mentioned. Uh, Homework can be tough if you don't study type stuff. You do a lot of studying. I'll at least say that for sure. You do a lot of studying.
yeah.
You got to make sure you're prepared for tests. If you have tests, finals, whatever it is, please do not plagiarize. Just throwing that out there now, because
They'll find it. They'll find it.
they'll find it. They definitely now, because I mean,
Yeah, it's
you
harder now.
know,
It's harder to plagiarize now. You can't do it.
Yeah, because if I can admit what happened when anyways, we don't comment. Just kidding. But yeah, do not do that. Do not do that because that is not the way to go, to be honest. So, um, it's just a lot of ways for that's managing time for sure is something else. Study, you got to study. Obviously, don't overdo yourself, but just make a plan, a schedule. Like, hey, I'm gonna study at this time. I'm gonna make sure I'm prepared for whatever test, homework assignment, whatever it is. Make sure that you're prepared for it, and you just go in there and do your best. At the end of the day, you're doing your best. So,
Also remember too, don't get caught up, especially in college. Like maybe high school, but in college, don't get caught up in having to get like straight A's. Like
mm,
the biggest thing in college is retaining the information. Like you can get a B or a C, but as long as you know how to do whatever it is, that's
yeah,
probably the most important thing. So like you don't have to necessarily get caught up in getting straight A's. Like don't fail, obviously. Don't get D's. But like as long as you like you were saying, AJ, like as long as you're doing your best and as long as you retain the information, that's the most important thing.
exactly. I totally agree. All right. So before we head off, you guys have any more questions?
Nope.
No.
No. You sure? Okay. All right. All right. So we are going to conclude our scholarship show today. We appreciate everybody for viewing in. Definitely appreciate Mr. Curtis, Michael, Jabez. Definitely, we appreciate you guys for being involved in the Zoom meeting. Michael and Jabez, I'll talk with you guys regarding because you guys, it's the third or fourth time you've been in a row here, so we got something for y'all. Yes, we appreciate y'all for
Yeah,
definitely being.
appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate y'all for
Yes,
being
sir.
involved. Is he happy? I think he's smiling.
I ain't smiling. I'm not smiling.
All right, so yeah, if you're viewing, we appreciate you for viewing. Please log on to the Voice, do that consent form if you didn't already do it. 9th through 12th, Monday through Friday, 2 to 4 p.m. And if you have a Civic Core or you need help with Civic Core, please contact me. Please start uploading a lot of different stuff. Maybe your grades, not maybe, upload your grades, activities that you're doing, activities that you've done in the past, anything. Go on there, look for tips for success, whatever you need. Log into your server core, please.
Uh,
Update that as soon as possible and just as much as possible too. Michael, you had a
they,
question?
they ain't upgrade. They not updating my grades.
Oh, I mean
Oh
when they
yeah.
do. I know it's pass and fail, but yeah, we'll get
No,
to
like
that.
his
They're
grades don't move since
yeah,
quarantine.
like
Mm.
they're literally not doing anything to my grades. It's the same as it was last time.
Oh, okay. I think I
Yeah,
got a
they said they're not even grading the work.
Yeah, I think I got a picture of that. But okay, yeah. I mean, I was just telling everybody, in general, to just upload your Silver Core and all that good stuff. Besides that, y'all, appreciate y'all for being on the call. Thank you for everybody viewing. We're here next Thursday. We actually might have a speaker next Thursday too. So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. So hopefully everybody can tune in on that, ask some questions. They're gonna present and it's going to be a speaker from most likely the next Thursday or this Thursday, most likely next Thursday. I said this Thursday, next Thursday or the following Thursday, but it's going to be a representative from UNO. So two representatives actually. So should be cool, should be fun, and yeah, see you guys next Thursday on the live. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we are